for supporting 3.5 Acres, for taking your Saturday. I know many of you are women in business. You're busy with your families, your careers, your hobbies, your New York and tri-state area. I know someone came from Massachusetts. Wow. As women, we are so busy, and we're so often carrying so much in so many different aspects of our lives. So I want to say that a really deep-hearted thank you that you chose to be here today, and I know you have many places that you could be. So thank you for being in this room, and I really hope we come through full value for you. Usually I'm up here, talking about the organization, and but I have a great board, and now they get to do that, and it feels wonderful. And I get to be here in a different role today. So today I'm here to talk to you about yoga. Many people think yoga is just putting your foot behind your head, right? or breathing and doing some poses. But actually, there are many, many parts of yoga. The kind of yoga that I study and teach is called Ashtanga Yoga, which means 8 limbs. Ashtanga, 8 limbs. And that means that there are other parts of yoga than just the physical. The physical is one part of the asana. The breathing is one part. There's also all these ways of being in the world. And so actually, it's not such a strange thing that after about 20 years of teaching yoga, that I started coaching and talking about mindset and goal setting and what to do when you're feeling down and how to make your visions come to reality. Because what we do on the mat is actually like, when I started yoga, I could not imagine being in a headstand. I could not imagine being upside down, right? And so first I actually did have to imagine it. I had to have the vision of it, the thought of it, and I had to feel it. Not just intellectualize that one day I would get there, but know in my heart of hearts that I would. I had to have that belief and that vision. Speaking about leg behind the head, right before I did learn how to put my leg behind my head, which I will not do for you today. Wrong outfit, and it's getting harder now. I started to have a lot of dreams about it. I started to have a lot of dreams. Had this one dream that I was a mannequin, and I remember it so vividly, and I just took the leg out, and it just all these dreams. And so, but it shows you the brain and what the brain is doing and how it's working all the time so that our visions can come true. Now, the brain is always working so that what you're thinking and feeling can come true. It's always looking to help you meet your goals, right? But if you're not sure what they are, or if the things that you're imagining are not so positive, it will look to fill those visions as well. You're nodding, so you know this, right? It will always look to bring to manifest what is going on here. And actually, our brain doesn't know the difference between our dreaming state, our visualizing, and really in real life, right?
Yes.
And so they've done plenty of studies with this. Very famous one with basketball players shooting. What's it called, Dad? Thank you. And one group actually practicing, and one group just imagining, and one group doing nothing. And the improvement of the ones physically practicing and mentally practicing was pretty much equal. So this is the power of the brain. So I'm doing a shortened version of a workshop I've been giving for, I guess, about 5 years called Train Your Brain. And it's the workshop that led me to write the book, My Bliss Book, which is a daily planner, which helps you take everything that I teach in the workshop and actually write it down on paper. And we know the next level to thinking and imagining is writing it down and saying it out loud, right? And these are the steps between actualizing, and they're very, very important steps. Even if you think you know it, you have to put the words down on paper. You'll be amazed at what you discover when you actually put the words down. It brings it to another level. So the planner's undated, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later, but it will show you how to write down your visions and then work backward from there to make it happen. So the visualizing is important, but the action steps are important as well. And I think a lot of times when I hear people talk, they're all focused on one side or they're all focused on the other, right? It's all, if you just dream it, it'll happen. Just make your thoughts pleasant and everything will be good. Well, it's not like that, right? We actually have to put the work out there, but it's a combination of the visualizing and the doing. It's that great balance. So how does the brain work? Okay, we talked a little bit about it, the belief systems of the brain, right?
Yeah.
They are, so your imagination, it really feels like that's real. So you want to be able to really imagine your visions, to see them in all their color and feeling them. So feeling what it's going to feel like when you're in that moment, right? And who's around you and all the great feelings around it. Really take it into that feeling state because we remember more things that have a feeling attached to them, right? That's why songs, right? You remember songs, Mary, right? Yeah. Music is so powerful. Many times children can remember lyrics, right? Like this. Yeah. You can't remember anything, but if you put it to music, that's because it has that feeling, right? All those different chords bring different feelings out in us, right? I don't know, but I'm going to the expert. You want your visions to be fueled with feeling, okay? You also want your, I'm just jump around, you also want your visions and your goals to be fueled with a very, very strong why. And this is the part that I think is left out sometimes, right? So when you've decided, okay, I want to be a famous performer, right? Because I got this on my mind now, right? You know, it's not enough to say, I want to be a famous performer, okay? The fame, as we are coming more and more in touch with, as we see some people that in the last months, and again and again and again, people who have that fame, right, and they're not happy. Mm-hmm. It's a hollow, right? And we all have that, right? That it doesn't have to be fame, but I want to do this for my ego, right? I want to be seen. I want to become the top of my class so that I'm acknowledged, right? These are all things that have to do with our own vulnerabilities and our lack of worth, right? But if your why is tied into something greater, like Julia was talking about, if you can find the why, even for your personal goals, that is tied into something bigger than you, right? Then you'll always be able to keep going when you have doubt, right? Because what we can't do for ourselves, when we have a why for others, it's a driving force. You get that, right? So if you've been working on some goals for yourself, some visions for yourself, and you feel like maybe you're hitting some roadblocks, right? Or you're doubting, or you're thinking, maybe I should just go back to what I was doing before, but this doesn't seem to be working. Go back and ask yourself what the why is. And then make that decision. Either you gotta amplify your why, look for a stronger reason to be doing what you're doing, right? Or maybe it's not the right path. I mean, that's okay also. We try different things in life. We go in different directions, right? And that's okay too. And I think one of the big things that happens, and why meditation is so important and why we're going to do the meditation exercise, is because we think that we should want certain things because of what we see others doing and what's rewarded as successful in society, in our family, what seems to be like the right thing to do. So we convince ourselves, right, that we should go that path, to be a teacher, to be a doctor, or whatever it is that you saw in your programming, in childhood, in your family, in your society, that's rewarded. And so sometimes it's so deeply ingrained that, for instance, that success means a certain amount of money, right? Or that success means marriage. Whatever that is for your family and your circle, whatever those layers, those levels of what the people around you enforce as being success, it might not be your what you find as successful, right? Your success might be the freedom to travel the world whenever you want, right? Or your success might be to be able to stay home and work from home. Or your success might have, nothing to do with having a lot of money. You don't want it, right? For you, you would actually like to live with as little as possible. To be able to survive on as little as possible. People have that as their goals, right? To use less. And so when we go deep down to our soul and beyond the programming is when we can discover what our real goals are for ourselves, what we really believe in, our deep, deep beliefs. And the way to get there is through meditation, because that's the way we get beyond that first layer, that conscious mind, and go into the subconscious to find out what's really going on. Because it's kind of like a hard thing to say, actually, maybe this isn't what I've wanted, right? And maybe that's why it's not working. Anyone relate to that? Like, thank you. Yeah, for me, I studied acting. I studied acting for my whole life. Now, my parents didn't really want me to go to school for acting, but I did. and think about that, right? So like, I really pushed the issue quite far, and they supported me, as they always do. They're here today, they're always here. So imagine my fear, after I put them through all that, of saying, actually, this acting thing isn't really my thing. Oopsie! Sorry, guys! Thanks for supporting that dream that you didn't want to support, and now I'm not doing it. So that's a scary thing to do, right? And a lot of times, especially I find as we get older, we feel, well, I've already invested so much, right? But there's always time to change, and there's always time to follow your true calling. And I just want to say, it doesn't mean you have to leave your job today, but you can find ways to experience your true calling through just breaking out a little time for it, right? Just because you love to design, you don't have to become a full-time designer, but you can take that design class that you've always wanted to. And you can find ways to design for your friends, and then you can decide, if you want to take it wherever you want to take it. But find little ways to live out your dream and what your calling is. Great. Any questions? No? You got it? You ready? And I just want to say, like, the envisioning and the visualizing, it has to do with, I tend to talk about career a lot. I'm very interested in career and in helping people to leave conventional career choices and go after their career dreams. But I use this, like Mary was talking about the formula. I feel like I found my formula, and a formula that I can replicate and teach others, that I've seen work in hundreds of students now. We sold the book to hundreds of people, and it works. The formula works. And I just want to say that I personally use it, and I've seen others use it, not just for career, but also for manifesting all parts of life. Health, education, spirituality, travel, relationship, family, friendships, things like that are all parts and really important parts of a healthy life vision, right? So it took me some time to get all those parts. I got my... For me, that was something that I always wanted, and as I was around 36, I started meditating on where I wanted to be at age 40. I'm 38 now. And people are like, that's so weird. That's so crazy. Like, why meditating on that? And I was like, because, that's coming. And I don't think my full actions, thought patterns are really in line with the woman that I want to be at that age marker. 40 is a very spiritual number. It's a very important number, very precious place in many different religions and spirituality. And I had a vision of how I want to be at that age. And if I want to be there at 40, then I need to start making the actions that are going to take me there at 36. So I started visualizing, and it came really fast. I had to set some different vision. I started visualizing who I wanted to be, who I wanted around me, including the kind of partner I want it around me. And it came so fast, so fast. So you never know. You never know. So what I'd like to do is to actually do a visualization exercise with you all. And then just talk a little bit about how you can use that to sort of dictate some of your daily life actions. Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. So everyone has a pen and paper near them. There's a lot of fear around writing things down that many people have. So I just wanted to reiterate that if we move along with no vision, right, you are being pulled in a direction, and it's by programming, and society is moving you in a direction. So you're always moving in a direction, right? You write your vision down. You can always go back and review it, and we'll talk about it, and you can always change it, but don't be afraid to make a choice, because life is an experiment. You can actually treat life like a scientific experiment where you can go full force on a choice and then analyze it. And then decide consciously, okay, I'm gonna give it this much more time, or I'm gonna make this adjustment. And you can get better at having your goals met and better at figuring out what works for you. But if you make no choice, you can't analyze it. And you are making choices all the time, but if you make no conscious choice, right, then you're not the driver in control, right? Okay, so just close your eyes for a moment. And just tune into the here and now. So just actually feeling your body here in space. Just notice the space you take up. Be aware of your presence. Back of your body. Notice any parts of you that are connecting with the chair. And just allow yourself to take the support of the chair below you. Notice your breathing. You don't have to change anything. There's no right way to breathe. Just bring your mind to observing the breath as it naturally flows in and out. And when the mind wanders, as minds do, just notice the thought, and then bring the attention back to the breathing. You're just strengthening the ability to choose where you put your attention. Noticing each inhale and each exhale. And bringing some enjoyment to the breath. So, recognizing the feeling, the great feeling of breath. Breath is spirit, entering and leaving the body. Conjuring some gratefulness for the breath. Even allowing a small smile to come, the edges of the lips. And begin to breathe in the feeling of bliss, of peace, happiness. Noticing that you can conjure that feeling in your own self for no reason, just in the here and now. Just in the feeling breath. Bringing a smile to the lips and feeling joy in the body. And see yourself in your mind's eye in your most joyful state. A picture of yourself, a future self, with everything you love around you. What are you wearing? What's your body like, your hair like? What are your movements like? In your absolute most blissful state. And where are you? In your truest happiness, where are you? What's your environment like? Don't judge it, just let any thoughts come to your mind. Who's around you? Who are the people in your life? What are you doing? What's your home like? What's your recreational time like? How much free time? What do you do with it? What's your education like and your spiritual pursuits? What's your work life like? Your finances? Your health? Your physical fitness? And just see it all. Try to see as much of it as you can. And then just gently, gently open your eyes and just write as much as you can down about anything that came to your mind. Just hand to paper without thinking too much about it. Try not to edit. Did anyone discover anything new? Anyone brave enough that wants to share anything? It's not required. And certainly keep writing if normally I do this over like a 2 to 4 hour. it's unabridged, but I don't want you to stop writing. Keep writing as I'm talking right now. But if as you're writing, if anyone... Yeah.
So I'm like a big career woman, like love the city and just love the action and everything. And then everything I wrote down was Italian villa by the sea, crispy bed with down pillows, flowing curtains from tall ceilings, breeze, papaya for breakfast, spending time with my kid, and our less relationship with my husband, just like being and enjoying and no financial loss.
Yeah.
Or worried about like not necessarily being rich, but just like being relaxed.
Yeah.
So pretty much the opposite.
So the thing often, and again, keep writing as I talk, is when will it be enough, right? When I have 50,000 in the bank, 100,000, what number will it ever be enough, right? And I think especially I want to say in the city, but I also want to say just like in the Northeast, this is a thing that we deal with, right? We have more, so we spend more, so we want more, right? So when can we allow it to be enough, to enjoy it as it is, even as we strive for more, right? But to make those spaces now to say, actually, you know, and to be in it. And to create that, to step into that now. That was like the first thing that just hit me with that, you know? And the elements that you can bring into your life. So if that's my vision in 10 years, you go, in 10 years I want to be living in Italy, you know, and being able to work from there and being able to spend as much time with my family. Okay, so this is how we work with the Bliss Book, and with making the dreams happen, right? So that might not happen next month, but in 10 years, I'm not gonna work so much anymore. I'm gonna have a place in another country. I'm gonna have, full days to spend with my family. Maybe I'm just working part-time, right? Okay, but like I was talking about with the 40 visualization, so it's time to start thinking about that now, right? So, okay, so where do I need to be in 5 years that I would be comfortable in 10 years for that life, right? So then, if you had more time, and what you'll do at home, and what you'll do if you get the book, is you'll write down everything about, okay, what's my 5-year vision, right? So in 5 years, I have to have enough, I have to be at this number where I can cut my working hours down to this, right? I'm starting to look at villas, right? Whatever that is. Okay, and so what's half of that? In 2-3 years, where do I need to be, right? And then with the planner, so 1-year planner, it's undated, you start at any time, you say, where do I need to be at the end of this year, right? Where do I need to be? Because actions follow a pattern, right? Like I said, life is a scientific experiment, and you can actually figure out where you're gonna end up if you look at the actions you're taking today. It's not so much a mystery, right? If you have an action plan and you work backward from there, sure, life happens, things happen, and like I said, we have to readjust sometimes to say, okay, that action's not actually taking me there. But if you're looking every day at your vision, at your goal for yourself, and that's the big thing I wanted to wrap with, is why the book is so important and how to really make this work, is you can't just do the visualization exercise and then, okay, right? You have to look at the vision every day and remind yourself of where you're headed. It's a couple minutes. It's 2 minutes before bed. It's 2 minutes in the morning when the brain is really open. My mom was like, I was just watching a program, right? And the brain is so open when you're falling asleep. Yeah. And so in those quiet moments, right, you review where you want to be and what you're going to do to get there, right? And so the planning every day, right? A couple minutes planning is it's like you're like, I don't have time to plan my day with my big goal in mind. I have to answer the email, I have to pick up this, that. Every day to carve out 5 minutes, it's going to save you so much time. You're going to have more time because you're going to be so clear about your vision. Right? So clear that you're going to be taking the exact action steps that propel you forward faster and spending less time on the things that are filling up a lot of space that we convince ourselves we're doing stuff, right? We convince ourselves we're doing stuff, but it's a lot of stuff that maybe isn't in line with the big actions, and you make time for that later. So it's a bit of what I call time chunking. So you carve out time towards your big picture vision every day. Whatever it is, 30 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, it's your choice, but it goes first in the daily planner, and everything else works around it. Every day you remember, you just read, it takes 1 minute, you figure out through this whole thing what your goal is, what your vision is, and you read that statement to yourself, so you're reminded every day and you're fueled with your why, who it's in service of, how it's gonna help yourself and your family and the people around you. Takes less than 5 minutes, and you make sure something that you're doing that day is in line with that action, right? You chunk out your time, even your email time, your social media time gets chunked out, so you're not just answering an email because it just came, but you have certain time for your email, you have certain time for your social media, you have certain time for your big picture, and you have certain time for the other things in your life. It's time chunking. And the more you do it, the sharper you get at it. People will respect your time more, and you'll become a time management queen. You'll be so good at managing your time. It's really true. And so in the book, you can write, every single day you write down your purpose. I just wanted to say that the last thing, which is about forgiving fast, most people, it's the New Year's Eve effect, right? And the New Year's resolution effect. They make a big resolution. Go on a diet is usually the example that I use. Eat 1 cookie and say, I'm no good, I can't do it. Eat the whole box of cookies. Self-destructive behavior, okay? I want to tell you, people who succeed, it's not because they don't eat that cookie. It's because they know how to walk away from that without turning it into a whole box. We all get off track. We all don't hit our goals all the time or our resolutions all the time. It's what you do after you eat that cookie. And so the people who succeed, who keep going, who go far beyond their dreams, get so big they have to keep imagining bigger dreams, is because they forgive fast. The most important thing. Let it go, remember your purpose, remember your why, and move on, more dedicated than ever. Thank you.